All right, what up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of These Corona Times. You're tuned in with your girl Tiffany and Dr. Simone in the building with her onesie on.
And I know I have a onesie on, it's a dress.
And Mr. Brandon with the lymph check. I see you.
Oh, what's going on?
I can't wait till we do our hair episode. It's gonna be awesome. But anyway, guys, I want to welcome y'all back to another episode of These Corona Times. We missed y'all last week, but we had to take some time to do some self-care of our own, spending time with our families and just kind of recharging the batteries. So we are back with you all for another exciting episode, because when this comes out, it will be one day left until Election Day. So today we are talking about election stress. When will it end? AKA
line by
line.
If y'all watch Roland Martin, then you know what we're talking about.
And it'll make more sense as we get into the episode. You'll see where we're going with that also as well. But as always, we wanted to start off by thanking you all for the love and support. We appreciate you all for following us, for tuning in after we took a week off. We appreciate that as well. As always, you can find us on Facebook at These Corona Times. You can also find us on YouTube at These Corona Times. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear what you want. Love the interactions that we have with you all during the watch parties. Please keep leaving the feedback because it helps us. We just want to know that y'all are liking what we're doing. So we definitely appreciate that.
I actually got a notification that somebody liked this today.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Me too. And I'd be surprised too. I think it was actually from one of your siblings, Tiffany? I was like, why are you just now accepting the like?
It was probably
should have been done like
that.
I think it was Khadijah.
It's probably
or Deshaun. One of them. But Tiffany, you didn't introduce us to your new spot. You have a new space.
Yes. Okay. So if you have been a faithful Corona Times watcher, you have probably seen me on my couch for the majority of this, and a couple times in a couple other spaces in my house. But I'm in my new office area that we kind of carved out. So basically, I don't know about what's happening in you all's areas as viewers where you're watching from, but the cases in Kentucky are going up, up, up. Not in a good way. So we are working more from home now. It was kind of more of a you could go in if you wanted to, or if you could, but you didn't have to. Now it's like, please stay home. Don't come in unless you really just need to. So now that that's happening and we're going to be here for an extended amount of time through the holidays, I kind of want to separate the spaces a little bit and give myself some boundaries. So y'all are in my new office area. Welcome.
So, as we always do, checking in on self-care. I know we obviously took the week off last week, and I did miss you all, but I also enjoyed the downtime because I needed it. Had a lot going on at work, as you all know.
Yes.
I have trouble eating, trouble reminding myself to eat, so I was kind of out of it a little bit. So I enjoyed the time, and my self-care was reading. And I'm going to show my book. Wait, I had it.
Never with the.
Why am I never prepared? Anyway, I swear it was right here.
Never prepared for you.
Anyway, I swear y'all, it was right here. This doesn't make any sense. Anyway, my Mary Trump book about her uncle. Okay, I'm trying to finish it before the election because I need to put it away. But that has been awesome self-care to be reading that, and also starting my what's her name? Jennifer Lewis book as well. So that has helped me to unwind at night. So that's what I have been doing, and it's been really helpful.
That's awesome. Let me see. Do I remember what my self-care was from 2 weeks ago? Lord have mercy.
It said more video editing and working on improving your skills.
It was more video editing. It was last week was kind of stressful. Some of my close friends and family know my grandmother had a very big surgery last week. So I was trying to do stuff to kind of take my mind off of the surgery, trying to let the Lord do the work. But, as Brandon preached to us in the polos, sometimes it's okay to be a little bit worried about things. It's normal. It's human. So, I was trying to do that, but then also give myself something to distract myself with so I wouldn't just be thinking terrible things all the time. So video editing was my relief last week. It was my self-care, and it was awesome. I love editing videos. It's fun. Smells like
Brandon, what
North
about
Side.
you? I don't know how to do it. I mean, so
I actually didn't have a self-care, but I found one in spite of not having one. I've been
course.
getting up at 5:15 in the morning, uh, and that has been great for me. I've been able to get up, get my workout in early, get the kids to school, come back, read, relax by myself for a second, and then go into work. So my productivity at work was just through the roof, and I was able to get a whole lot of stuff done.
Me and Tiff don't understand. We're happy for Brandon, but we also don't understand the early morning.
Don't get it.
Y'all should have seen him on the polos that morning. He was like, and I was like, Brandon, just calm down. What's going on?
It's still dark outside. I can't get
He
behind
was very
waking.
excited. Talk about all the things he got done.
Exactly. It was
As
so
I roll
productive.
over.
I was secretly hating y'all for being able to do that. But my situation, what I was doing before, I was trying to get my kids up at 6 o'clock and be at the house by 7. I was always on a structured time thing, and it was killing my baby girl. She needed to sleep longer than 6 o'clock. And so she had one of her best weeks of school. She had some of her best violin practice, and everything, a lot of things went well. I was less stressed with getting him out the house because what I needed to do was already done. So by me waking up, just 30 some odd minutes early, I was able to lessen the stress on the whole family. So, you do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You keep doing that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
You
be
go on ahead. We cheering you from the bed.
I want to cheer
In
me
my
from a
dreams.
car, huh?
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Haters.
So I'm glad that you found some self-care, even though initially you didn't have any, but that sounds like that was working for you all. So this week, we are actually going to acknowledge the Louisville Urban League because of their efforts to, I'm going to say this, to, cut down on this voter suppression that's going on, that is running
Yes.
rampant.
I mean,
Yes. So the Louisville Urban League is providing rides to the polls this obviously Tuesday. You can sign up for rides on Tuesday from 10 to 2 and from 2 to 7. So during select days during early voting, the Louisville Urban League is connecting Jefferson County voters to rides so they can get to the polls. If you need a ride, sign up. You can sign up or call 502-354-8601 and leave a message. Rides are assigned in the order that they are received. So that's a wonderful resource. And in addition to that, I hope other people are just checking in with their loved ones and offering to get them to the polls if they can as well, because we really gotta vote. We have to.
Have to.
Yep.
And that kind of gets into the the introduction to this episode. It's kind of
Yes, the orientation.
Right. Let me orient you to all this. But no, it's crazy. We've been talking about voting for months now. One of our first guests was Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey, and we were talking about voting. And so that was what, 3-4 months ago, and now we're actually here. Like, we have literally 2 days left, and when you all see this, actually 1 day left of that. So you want to talk about election stress? How are you going to watch it? Are you talking more so to Black folks? What's your post-election safety plan looking like? Like, what do you?
Your post-elect, that's a real thing. That is a real thing. I got stories, okay?
We're gonna talk about some of that. We're gonna talk about some of the some of the misinformation, some of the voter suppression techniques that have been going on across the country. I think there's some stuff that's come out over the last couple of days about certain Trump caravans blocking stuff. So we just talk about all those things and how they relate to us.
Yeah. But I found funny about preparing for this episode is that we meet during the week to talk and plan, usually on a Wednesday. We draft our notes on Wednesday evenings. By this morning, we had like 5 new instances of voter suppression or, just crazy stuff happening with the vote. And it's like, it doesn't feel like real life. It feels like we're in a a sequel of The Purge or something. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
lot going on.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think we've been, as we said, we've been talking about this a lot. And I think for whatever reason, my stress has been higher, or at least I've talked about it being higher than the both of you for whatever reason. I'm not sure why that is, but I remember, like, I know we're going to talk about our election experiences, our voting experiences, and I fully expected there to be some mess
Mhm.
when we took our ballots up there to the location. I thought they would be, like, I don't know, Trump caravans or something like that. But it was so easy. It was so, and I'm glad we did it early. We've never voted like that before. We took it up there and there was like nobody in line. This was like maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And then she was like, I'm putting your ballots inside whatever it is. And I was like, okay. And then I checked my phone for the status updates, like literally right after. I was like, Sean, it's not there. She was like, Simone, they just put it in. And the next day, you got to give them time. So then the next day it was there. So it was real easy.
Yeah.
Same. Oh, go ahead, Tiff.
Well, I was gonna say that's actually was our first point to talk about this week, was like, how was your voter experience? Brandon, if you want to share, you go ahead.
Yeah, mine was easy as well. I voted at the Kentucky Center for African American History in West Louisville, and I walked in. We had and we highlighted my church's food pantry a couple weeks ago, so I was helping out with that. And then after we had finished, I went up because they had hours Monday through Saturday from like 8:30 to 4:30. So I went up there and I was greeted, told where to go. I was in and out in like 5 minutes. It was easy, and we had the ballot boxes there. So the lady watched me, put it in. It was all good. It was counted. The machine counted it, and I was out. And that was like the easiest experience. And I was like, why in the world don't we do this ever again? Why did we not do this before? It was so easy. So that's one less thing I have to worry about on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I too voted early. And as I shared, I think before when we talked about voting, it's always been a family activity. So when I lived closer to downtown, my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother was alive. We voted with her. When all my siblings were old enough, we just all kind of caravan together and would go vote. So since we're all kind of spread out this time, and my mom and grandma did their mail-in ballots, me and my siblings went to go vote together. So we went out to the East End, to one of the hotels out this way, and it was not that it was a long process, but when we got up to the front, this is very important, folks. When you're going to vote, don't forget your ID, okay? So we get to the door, and we're like, when me and my brother are checking, so you got your ID, we got everything. Of course, my sister does not have her ID. So we have to go back home and get her ID and everything. But once we got back up there and got through, it literally took like maybe 10 minutes. It was not long at all. And I was just really impressed to see the number of people that came out. Like that was I want to say maybe a Thursday morning. And it was fairly early. It was maybe like 10:30 in the morning. And it was a nice turnout. Like we had to wait to actually get to a little station to fill in our vote, but otherwise, not much of a wait. But I was just proud to see that people are actually coming to vote, and I'm hearing that voting is being done in record numbers this time. As y'all
I think like 90 million people have already voted.
As y'all's current president would say, this is big. This is huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
Yeah, and I think that our stories, I don't want to say they're unique, but I mean, I've seen, on the news, so many horror stories, like people waiting in line for hours in Atlanta. Just so many different ways to try to dissuade people from voting. The burning of the ballot boxes, also the fake ballot boxes, and also people taking credit for that. Like, yeah, we did it. It's not against the law, and we're not going to take them up. Like,
wait, wow,
really?
Again, where do we live? This is so odd.
But you're right. You're right. It seems like our experience was just so easy, and we were expecting a lot of trickery, a lot of, as we wrote in the notes, a lot of shiggity.
That Tom Joyner talk.
That Tom Joyner.
Yes.
I was fully expecting, I was like, all right, I told my wife, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go try to go vote. if the line is long, then I'm gonna come right home. But if the line is not long, then I'm gonna stay. And I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. And then walked in, and it was actually order, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I can do this.
I can do this.
Imagine that actual order in some places, but like y'all said,
Right.
in other places it's not going so well. And of course, I think as we move through this progression of notes, we will kind of see and talk about some more how some things are really shaping up. Because I think voting is becoming really dangerous for some. I mean, I saw a brief snippet from last night of a march that was what do they do? They dispersed the march with pepper spray.
Pepper spray, yeah.
Yeah.
People, like,
Mhm.
it's a voter.
Is this the one in
turnout.
North Carolina?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to be, from what maybe were there two incidents or one, I don't know. I'm not sure, but they were supposed to be marching up to the voting place to go vote as they marched and all that kind of stuff. And they were not, they were attacked basically.
I don't know. It just seems like one side is behind. I'm sorry, me.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing. I was just keep that
Seems to be.
myself.
Well, I mean, it's hard not to talk about that. This started months ago with, Trump just kind of slowly, kind of trying to discredit the Postal Service, which has always been reliable. I mean, medicines. I mean, my aunt loves to send cars. She'd be like, yeah, your car's going to be there in almost down to the minute, And now, I mean, as y'all know, I've tried to get deliveries and they don't come.
They don't come.
And so, along with him putting in his guy, McMaster, and just really dismantling the Postal Service, but also our trust, because things are not moving the way that they need to. And that is a direct reflection of, it directly impacts our ability to get our votes in.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. It's really made us question everything we rely on. Like, when have you ever questioned the post office to deliver something?
Never.
And look how much we use it for. I mean, we use it, of course, to ship packages here and there for commerce or whatever. But you're right. A lot of people rely on it for medication. A lot of people rely on it now for voting. And some are still, I mean, I know some people are still waiting for their stimulus checks to come in the mail. So now we're in a place where you can't really even trust the post office to get your stuff in.
I've lost a pair of shoes through the Postal Service this year.
Now we know that's a tragedy right there.
That's probably really expensive.
I know I had to eat that. I sold a pair of shoes, and the guy was like, "They never came." And I click on the tracking number, and it's nothing there.
Nothing.
So I had to refund him his money, and so he was upset. I was upset about it. But I've been selling shoes on through eBay for years, and that is the first time that has ever happened.
Yeah. And we have to look at this, I think, from an institutional and systematic way, because when you have the person at the top who's making those decisions and he's directly connected to the president, I mean, of course, you're going to see that, and I don't know. I think that's one of my frustrations with this process is I'm going to just call it like lack of critical thought. You know what I mean? Like if you see somebody discrediting a system that has been working, has been reliable, and then he works to slow down said system, don't you think he's going to try to don't you think that's a method to try to get the election to go the way he wants it? I mean, maybe it's just me.
Postal Service been working good for the last 3.5 years, and all of a sudden, service don't work.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we don't.
But even going towards, I think I was reading something last night. There was a county in Texas who, because of Corona, they had instituted drive-up voting, and it was a mostly Democrat county, and I think they had like 120 some odd thousand ballots already in. And there was a group of Republicans trying to get that shut down, get all those ballots taken out, and thankfully the court denied that request. I think that came out today.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of foolishness going on. A lot of foolishness.
I think I shared that in the notes too. The Texas story. Texas Republican asked states
yeah
throw out 100,000 ballots that have already been put in. Like seriously, they're working. I'm telling you, they're working overtime.
They
They're
working overtime.
They really
Working
trying to
overtime.
steal this election, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I don't have all the information about this, but there was something in the courts about when they could accept ballots. Something about they had to be postmarked by election day, and I think they initially got a yes on that, and then they went back on it or something. And I don't know all the details. Forgive me for that, but basically, we were trying to get all the votes, that valid votes that came in by mail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying to get them counted. And they were like, no, if they're not there on election day, then you can't count them. Why?
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
like? If you had a good candidate, maybe you wouldn't. Let me stop.
You're asking the wrong questions. Yes, you're asking the wrong questions.
This is why I'm not feeling the tenseness that Simone's feeling, because I feel like he's going to lose. I feel like if you have to do all of this,
Don't say that, Tiffany.
I just feel it. I want to be hopeful. You got to name it and claim it. You got to speak it into the atmosphere, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder.
Receive it.
Yeah, I wonder, though, with all this going on, have we not had, what is this, the 7th month of COVID? Yeah.
Right about the 8th. We're in the 8th month now.
To the 8th month of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yep.
Had we not had COVID and this terrible sham of a handling of COVID, like would this have changed anything? Because it seems like, before this, I kind of felt like, well, Trump might be able to pull it out because, he just seems to have a grasp on that audience and there's nothing that's not going his way. But now with this, like a lot of his supporters have even turned on him for COVID, for how he's handled COVID.
Yeah.
And what I think too, what's starting to happen, like you said, his people are starting to like, yo, like you're an idiot. And then also, I think there are a lot of other people who may not have thought about voting, but now they are voting. And I think I've thought this for a while. We've had discussions about it, three of us, how you find more innovation. We're finding more innovation during this time period. So, drive up voting. We never did anything like that. Like early voting. Like we've been able to vote for almost a month prior to the election. So all these things that are coming up to help more people be able to vote, I think is directly caused by Corona.
Yeah. And I think it obviously it has been a mistake to politicize the virus. When you see people not wearing a mask, I don't know about for y'all, but for me, I think, okay, I know who you're voting for. I don't know if that's fair, but because of the way it's been politicized by him, like that's where my mind goes. So I do have to check that. But you're right. A lot of supporters have lost people to coronavirus. And I've heard stories saying like my dad or my mom or whoever, they listen to him. They listen to his advice that it's okay to go out without a mask. It's okay to not social distance. And then they died. Yeah. And the only, one woman said the only thing my dad he was perfectly healthy. The only mistake he ever made was listening to Trump. And that is across political lines. It's just Americans, and you can't, and I think as much as he has, he's been very disrespectful with it too. He's shown up to rallies, dancing, talking about,
look, he's a macho man.
We've ended coronavirus. Like that is so disrespectful.
I mean,
when you ended it,
when you have private doctors on private doctors, and you got you can be airlifted to any facility and you get to go to the best one, I'm sure you're gonna be out here dancing. You got a lot of privileges that the average man or woman does not have, which is his base is the average folks.
And bragged about it, y'all. I had so many doctors. I didn't know there were so many doctors. If I get COVID, I'm not going to Walter Reed. I'm going maybe to the immediate care if they'll let me in. I don't know.
If they let you in.
They might send me home. They might send you home and say, all right, quarantine for 2 weeks.
They're going to be like, do like this. Drink some water.
Yeah. Need some Robitussin. Put some tussin on it.
Tussin on it. You break a leg, put some tussin on it.
But it's amazing.
Me and Tiff showed the Chris Rock.
Yes. We shout out Chris Rock a lot.
I love Chris Rock.
Over this weekend, I begrudgingly watched the Borat movie.
Why you do that to yourself?
Joel likes Borat, so I try to do, marriage is give and take. So I gave myself this, this opportunity to watch this movie.
You gave.
But I wanted to see it because there was some, some issues that were raised, and it's always funny how Borat can kind of get away with stuff. Because I mean, he's out here in the world and filming these rallies and stuff, and he's just in here as Borat, and this stuff is really happening. So I was just kind of shocked that he went to a few Trump rallies. And of course, I'm not saying this of all Trump supporters. I don't want to be that way, but I'll just say these in this particular video. They were very anti-mask. They considered wearing masks as being a puppet. They said things like, we're not going to be told by the government how to live our lives. We're not going to be made to stay inside. They wanted to do away with Dr. Fauci. Like this group of people, particular, especially in this video, because it's the only one I can classify as the only one I've seen, were very anti any common sense. Just put it that way.
That's exactly
lack
right.
of critical thought.
Common sense.
Critical thought, lacking the critical thought. But they were saying, they were kind of just, again, mimicking all the things he said about the virus being the negative things he was saying about the China connotations. I don't want to, offend any of our viewers who may be of Chinese descent or anything like that. So I don't want to repeat some of the stuff they were saying, but just some of the crazy stuff about how it comes from bats and gets in your throat, and you gotta, let the sunlight into your throat. I'm like, what are you?
No, that's real, because that just leads to all the stuff that's on that, I know we're going to talk about all the stuff that's on the ballot, but yeah, I've watched the same videos, and I get like, I go down the YouTube, like down the hole.
Yeah.
But they were talking about wearing your mask will make you sick, Oh, okay.
Your own breath, and you got the COVID anyways.
And then you ask them questions like, oh, where did you hear that? Where did you see that? And they can't tell you. Oh, Hunter Biden. Oh, what did he do? Well, nepotism. Oh, have you heard of Ivanka and Jared?
Right.
Come on now. Come on now, think it through.
Woo, he definitely.
You asking too much, though. You asking too much to think.
Yeah, he definitely knows who his audience is. Trump knows who his audience is. He's playing to their group of people, and that's just, it's sad to see adults think that way. And I can't even say like adults who live in rural areas with limited internet or any of that. These are like, some of these are well-minded, individuals.
Educated folks.
You think they agree with him saying to Woodward, yeah, I played it down. I always played it down, Bob. I knew it was serious. Are you okay?
It ain't funny, man.
With that?
It ain't funny.
Are you okay?
It ain't funny, but
didn't somebody in his camp say this week, was it Jared Kushner or somebody was recorded saying that the way the virus played out was good for him because it makes him look strong or something like that? And I was like, what? How is that possible?
I don't get it, man.
They love it. The supporters. And let's be clear, it's not, we talked about this too, it's not about being a Republican. I have Republicans in my family, and I believe that, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say we believe you should be able to vote for whoever you want to vote for. That's your right to do so. And we have a right to talk about it and critique as well. And
we sure do.
You can do the same to us.
because hey, let's be real. There's some trash Democrats, just like there's some
Absolutely.
trash Republicans. There's some trash independents. So everybody can get the smoke. Everybody can get it.
yeah, absolutely. Joe's not perfect. He's not perfect.
No, and I'm glad you said that, because I don't want people to think, oh, they just don't like Republicans. They're against Republicans. I'm definitely not. In fact, I welcome the thought. And, I'm always surprised, to hear some of the education behind Republican and Democrat, because I'll admit, this was one area I didn't know about. It's like, okay, I'm Black, I'm Democrat. That's all I know. It's my family's voted Democrat their whole lives. That's all I know.
Same.
I don't venture out into the other world because I always feel like, oh, those are, opposite of the Democrats. So I'm not thinking about that. But the last few years have made me expand my horizons on where the actual roots of the parties came from, and then also what it means to be a part of each party. But this is definitely not us being anti-Republican. I'm definitely just being anti-Trump right now.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm anti-Trump, and I'm definitely anti not having common sense.
Oh yeah, I can't get down with you.
Which I guess both of those are the same thing. So
they are. Yeah, because there's nothing common sense about the guy. Like, I'm trying to think of one good thing he's done. But then I feel like the people he did let out of prison was because Kim Kardashian got involved. So I'm not really sure.
I ain't
But
giving
you know
him no
what?
credit.
I give those black people that he did let, I give them a pass. You know, if you want to, you know, I get it. Go ahead and vote for him. But other than that, like, I
I don't
can't
get
get,
it.
like, as a black person, as a woman, as a Christian, all of my little intersectionalities.
Mhm.
Properly,
Use that
You
word.
know.
You used
ma'am.
it. You used it correctly, Simone.
Okay. I mean, I'm offended. I'm offended by him just all the way. As a woman who's married to a black man, I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
This raises a good question that I know we have on our list to talk about. One of my other friends posted this week on Facebook. Can you support Trump and not be considered a racist?
Oh shoot.
Get to the fiery things, you know.
Oh shoot. I'll accept this. I'll accept the heat for the first one.
Want the heat? Okay.
I'll take the heat, and I'm gonna answer and say no.
Mm.
But I will say that you are enabling racism, and that you condone it. You are in effect supporting it. So no, you may definitely disagree with, and this is where the critical thought comes in, because you may say that, oh, everybody's created equal and everybody deserves blah 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 blah. We're all the same, but yet you support someone who doesn't. So I don't understand that logic. But at the very least, you are supporting racism. You're supporting policies now. And what I'll use my daughter. And I will say that if my daughter is getting bullied at school and I see that she's getting bullied, but don't do anything about it, I am an accessory to her being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting a hand on her. I am not telling the kid. I'm not encouraging the other kids to go bully her. But because I'm not doing anything about it, I am in effect supporting her getting bullied.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a supporter of Trump, no, I don't believe everybody is a racist. I with that, but I do believe that you're an enabler and that you support it, and that you have decided that you getting or keeping some power is worth somebody else losing quite a bit of power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which I believe is racist. If you, if you, and I get it, if you don't have, what do you call them? The cross is burning, you don't have on a white you're not using the N-word, that's that, in your face, direct racism. Of course, we know what that is, but those, the indirect, the implicit, those that are just silent and complicit, that is it looks different, but in my opinion, it's still racism. And I think that a lot of these folks don't think that they are, but that's where implicit bias comes in. I think that's where the lack of self-exploration and privilege comes in. You haven't had to think about these things. You haven't thought about how your decision to support this person, how that's going to negatively impact the experience of people of color, of gay people, of immigrants, of so many different people. So for me, I say it is racist.
Okay.
And you got some learning to do about yourself.
You got the racist spectrum then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but you talked about that. You talked about it on the polos the other day. I agree with the spectrum.
The racist spectrum. Got you.
We're gonna all put it under the umbrella of racist though.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. I can get with you on that.
Umbrella.
Yeah. The racist umbrella.
I wanted to say no, that, supporting Trump does not inherently make you a racist, but I struggle with that because I'm like, there's too many things that he's done
and said
and done and not said.
Not done. Yes.
Even down to the latest two things, which for me, not denouncing white supremacist groups, instead telling them to stand down, stand back and stand by. And then also wanting to cancel out diversity training.
Diversity trainings, yes.
I don't
yes.
and then calls that if we do those, they're unpatriotic. You know, I don't understand how you can support a candidate or president who is actively hurting minority groups of people. I don't know how you can do that and then be okay with it. I feel like it's under that umbrella. I feel like you're like, as Brandon said, I'm just combining both y'all's answers. It's like you're standing by and watching somebody get bullied and going, well, you know, it's not affecting me. So,
yeah. But how do you have, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So how do you have, I'm not going to say no names, but how do you have a friendship that spans decades? Okay. An interracial friendship that spans decades. And you ain't got nothing to say to your Black friend? You got nothing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's a problem.
This is the time of the unfriend.
Okay.
But you know, but I think that's a different thing. And oh man, is I'm trying to figure out the words, because do we as Black people see white people friendship as different than how white people see Black people friendship? Or is that how for a totally different?
We talked about that before, though. I think privately.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they be thinking we for real friends, like white people. We like, oh man, that's my friend, you know. And I'm thinking like, yeah, we cool, but I don't like you, and I don't like you in the same way. I don't hold you as close as you hold me.
In this context, though, somebody has been your friend for decades. I mean,
decades.
Like, you know, they know your kids, y'all close. You know,
you texted me about like window shades and stuff, and Breonna Taylor just got murdered and got no justice. I can't, like, no.
It can't be business as usual. Like I think we said earlier when we were talking about white allies, we even talked about in the beginning of all of this George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, like our white friends checking in. I think even as a friend, just remove the white person part. Even as a friend, I think you need to check in on folks, you know, that are going through this difficult time. And if you can't bring yourself to talk about it, I don't know what kind of friend you are. Like, do you not see that as a person that I am hurting for my people of same color as me? You know, we're going through something really big. If you can't even acknowledge that with me, then what kind of friends are we for real?
Can we put up the racial identity development not scale, but the different categories? Because I feel like it's really about, we're not really going to do that, but it's important to think about like where you are on that. And if folks don't know what that is and y'all want to know, please let us know in the comments. And
we will share it. Yes, I'm going to prepare a slide for you.
Yes, because it really is something to think about, like based on how you react to these kinds of world events. It really does call into question where you fall. Are you pro your identity and rejecting others? Like, you know, where are you on that line? Because I know we talk a lot about race because we're Black people, obviously, but like the violence that has, you know, the xenophobia and anti-Asian American, anti-Asian violence because of racial slurs. Like the CDC actually had to put out like a statement that, hey, you are not predisposed to get coronavirus just because you are of Asian descent.
Right.
Why do we need that? Of course you don't. Of course not. Like, but that's the kind of stuff that he bubbles up.
Yeah. So I wish I could say that he does stuff and just targets people of color, like Black folks and Hispanics, but no, he goes all around the spectrum. He gets everybody. He gets disabled. He gets his handicapped people. He gets people of Indian descent. He gets people of Asian descent. He just comes for everybody. So again,
go ahead. No. You said again with what?
It makes me feel like there's just a power dynamic that white folk have that I don't want to say white power, but it feels like that. And it feels like if you're not of that, then you're just, you know, you're just out here.
Is there something also about, I mean, what's going to happen to the gay marriages?
Ooh,
what's going to happen? What's going to happen to women's right to abortion? What's going to happen with all that?
Yeah.
That's going to be dicey, and not just because Trump's, you know, even if Trump doesn't get back in office, those things are dicey because of how the Supreme Court is right now. So
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Which he stacked
He's
and
he
rushed
stacked.
through.
He
He is
stacked
set
it.
up.
He stacked it. Republicans made a deal with the devil, and the devil came through.
Isn't that funny that when he's gone, he'll still have legacy because he'll still have those 3 justices who sit for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the youngest was Amy Cohen Barrett.
Coney Barrett.
And she's young. She got 50 years on the seat.
Well,
Yeah.
So
No.
Hey, she was at that super spreader event. They had the nerve to have yet another event after they spread it.
Look, you keep hanging around with Trump, you might don't make it. Okay.
Right.
That's unfortunate. But she got a long life in theory ahead of her. So, and she's very conservative.
Very. And he's already cited that he's already said, the Supreme Court is going to help me win this election. During one of his rallies, he was like, and when I win, thank you, Supreme Court, or something like that.
Right.
I thought, listen, I know that maybe this is further down, but if they steal this election, I don't know if I'll ever vote again.
Yeah.
I might be done.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit extreme, but seriously.
But I know what you mean, because this is like, at that point, if somebody can just steal the election, like, what's the point of even voting?
People of color already don't feel like they have a lot of incentive to vote as it is. 9 times out of 10, they don't feel like their candidate's going to get in there anyway. So if if they go vote and you see all these record numbers, these people are turning out all like overwhelmingly people against Trump. If he somehow wins this thing, I'm gonna feel like there's trickery and shit. I'm gonna need triple counts. I need y'all to triple count that. I'm gonna need it three times for verification.
There's a lot of stuff at stake, man.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's on the ballot. Y'all mentioned gay marriage already. Immigration, racial inequality, healthcare, diversity training. We talked about that a little bit. Our finances, like, we're not doing good. Economy is not doing good, contrary to what y'all president be saying. The economy not doing great right now.
Didn't he withhold a second stimulus? It's been like 8 months or so, and people got $1,200 and some change. Are you kidding me?
$1,200, and he said he's gonna hold off until he wins, and then he gonna start.
That there are certain things that are just you don't qualify to be president. You withhold money from me, and you kill my people. Yeah. Like, you can't be president.
But the funny thing is, it's like, is he just not thinking this stuff through? Because he would have gathered a whole lot more votes if he passed the second large stimulus and be like, yo, I'm gonna give everybody $3,000 or whatever. It could have been seen as a buy the vote. Just buy it.
He's trying to make it political again by saying it's the Democrats that are holding it up. Like, they won't come to the table and agree on such and such. I'm ready to sign it or whatever. Dude, you got executive power. If you want
to do it, make it happen.
Just sign it. That's all you got to do.
I don't know about y'all, but there are several non-starters. The children in the cages. When he said at that first whichever debate that the children are being taken care of, they're being treated well.
Really? On the little with the foil blankets? Really?
I don't care if the kids are eating $100 plate meals for breakfast, lunch. They're not with their parents. They are scarred for life.
And they lost them didn't they lose like 500 of them?
500, like 40 something.
And 45 kids are not reunited with their parents.
Who's going to be responsible for their mental health care later on? Because they're not going to be all right. They're just
not at all.
And that's just mental health care.
Yeah.
That's just.
But how do you lose 545 people? Like, when y'all separate them, y'all couldn't like take names,
spreadsheet, something.
Somebody didn't know Excel back then. Somebody said they knew Excel, but they didn't.
They're brown people. They don't care. They don't care.
They're brown people with low IQs. They're bad.
They're rapists and murderers and
what they call bad hombres.
The coyotes. It came over on the coyote. What does that even mean? Like real coyotes? What does that mean?
come over to rape and steal and kill, like, you know, all this painting these folks as bad people, you know,
Yeah.
when a majority of them are not.
When they commit crimes at a lesser rate than the ones that are here. But that's,
Hmm.
yeah, no.
Hmm. He worried about them, but yet Ghislaine Maxwell just got
Ghislaine.
captured.
Ain't heard much from her lately. I
Man.
wonder what's
She's
going
real
on.
quiet right
She
now.
got captured, didn't she?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. Yeah, we're gonna wait and see how that plays out. Hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's just a lot. And
Yeah.
there's so much of it that when I hear the issue, it's like, for me, it's a no-brainer. And I know we live in an echo, we put ourselves in an echo chamber. Like, the stuff I see on Facebook is the stuff that I want to see. The friends, I've already unfriended everybody that I don't want to see. And so I get that, but there just seems to be a lack of humanity. And I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to just reconcile that. It's hard not to place that squarely on his lap because he has the biggest platform.
Especially since I feel like that has changed in the last 4 years. And I think we were talking about this when we were talking about how to debate online. And I was saying that before there was a time when I could debate with people and it was a discussion. And it wasn't hate filled. It was like, okay, even if we didn't agree, it was like, okay, you said yours, I said mine, agree, disagree, move on. Now, when I see, for the most part, there is an echo chamber around you, especially on social media. But when I get to those news stories where anybody can comment, those top comments are generally extremely hateful. I saw today, and y'all gonna be proud of me because I did not comment, but somebody already read this person for filth, so that's why I didn't comment. But there was a story about they're going to take the Breonna Taylor Memorial and move it into the African American Museum because it's starting to get cold and the weather's starting to change. They're trying to preserve it or whatever. And the top comment was like, better place would be the dumpster around the corner. And I was like, oh, excuse me. Oh my gosh. My fingers was ready to type. But let me tell you,
don't do it.
500 people had already went in on that young man. So I was like, Leah, let me just back up over here. But there was a time when people used to not be so outright racist and outright mean and just no humanity, like just lacking humanity for life, for people's feelings. I'm just people are, their Twitter fingers, their Facebook fingers are so strong and they're hiding behind their profile. I mean, they're saying all kinds of reckless things. I'm just like, there was a time when it just didn't used to be so visible, People might have thought that way, but they didn't fix their fingers to type some of that crazy stuff that they're typing now.
Yeah. And go ahead, Brandon.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we know that Trump did not invent racism. It's been here, like our country was built on that. We all know that, right? But he has made it nice and comfy and made it real easy for people to just take that stuff, that deep-seated stuff that they've had and bring it out and be loud and proud with it. And so that's what we're not okay with. And I think I know we're going to talk about this later, but I'm really worried about not so much election day, but after that. And no matter what, like who the winner is, I know it's going to take a minute to understand that and know who it is. But we never usually know the day of, right? It takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But my concern is, what is life going to be like as they are hashing this out? Because if it's not a landslide on either side, it's going to be a mess.
Tied up in the courts or something.
It's going to be a mess.
Simone, is that why you feel anxious?
Yes, because y'all know I can really only do 2 hours of news. I do Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon. I can take it like that because it's funny, and because they do their banter.
The banter, yeah.
And of course, I read my articles and things of that nature. I don't know. I'm worried.
I'm hopeful. I'm trying to be hopefully optimistic over here, and just trying to believe that people are inherently good, and that there's more good people than bad people, and hopefully, common sense will win out this time. I think that we really took common sense for granted in the last election. We just thought for sure there is no way that Celebrity Apprentice is going to be our president. Sure.
I was so confident. I was like, man, it's easy. Got this bag. Hillary gonna be the next woman president. That's what's up.
But no, her emails, got people all in a tizzy, and they couldn't. Folks didn't vote like we thought they would, or folks didn't show out like we thought they would. So I want to just be hopeful that all of just the overwhelming amount of things I've seen in favor of voting. I've never seen NBA commercials for voting before. Just commentators just saying, "Hey, just go vote." I've never seen the NFL pay so much attention to voting. I'm just so happy that we're really, really doing all we can to make sure that everybody can vote, especially during this time. So I'm just hopeful that the right will win out this time. And I know some people don't care for Joe, don't care for Kamala, maybe not be their number one choice or whatnot. But to me, this is a vote against crazy. This is a vote against the right.
Joe Biden is not even my fifth best candidate that I would vote for. He's not even number 5 on my list.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna vote for him versus old dude any day of the week.
Look, have we said before, I would pick Hickory Dickory and Doc before I vote Trump.
Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brandon has an interesting view.
What?
I was saying Brandon has an interesting view on this because we were talking about how we felt about this, and I typed Brandon as despondent, but that's not true.
Oh no, I don't.
I know. It wouldn't shock me if Trump won, man. I told y'all, it wouldn't shock me at all. And I've been preparing myself for that for a minute. So,
do you mean because you think he's going to steal the election, or just legitimately
outright
win?
Legitimately win. I think he has a big shot at doing that. Because I think as we saw in the last election, and let's just keep it real. White people will say one thing and do something else, and there are a lot of folks that were like, oh my gosh, he is so awful, he is so this and he is so that, and oh man, and they went right on into that ballot box, or right they went to the voting booth and they checked his name, but to our faces they were saying, oh, there's no way I could vote for him, but the numbers bear that out. Who voted for him in the biggest numbers. So
white uneducated men, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this overall, if you look at who voted for him, it was it was a lot of white individuals that voted for him, right? So even I still don't believe. I have hope that there's some people that have changed their mind, but I think a lot of it is lip service. I think a lot of it is lip service, and once they get into that voting booth, they'll say something. They'll say one thing, and they'll do something else.
I think that one of the things that held us back last time, one of the many things, was you can't, like, with the uneducated white man is going to come a lot of sexism, right? Like the idea of a woman running the country, and also internalized sexism too.
Yeah,
a lot of women who feel like we have to have our families and our men should be running things. Women. A lot of women still think that of each other, and so I think that held us back. And so for me, I'm thinking, okay, we got a 1-to-1 here. We got 2 white, privileged, rich men, and so I'm hoping that
Trump rich.
I don't think so, but we're still playing. Hey, he's richer than us. He's
right.
Like,
he
got more money than me.
Right.
And man, like, where's that daggone book? The amount of money that he has squandered.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So my hope, like, identity-wise, they match. And we didn't even talk about the Christians, the evangelicals who are voting for him because he's the Christian candidate. Where? How, Sway? How?
What do you call it? The 2 Corinths? Like,
Book of 2 Corinths.
2 Corinths.
Where's my Bible? Who does that?
Wasn't he holding it upside down? Like,
yes.
What
you have to
bro?
have holy Bible. You have to, like, if you're gonna hold up a Bible, which nobody does that, but if you're gonna do that, have it correct.
Have it.
All I know is my man Barack could quote a Bible verse and sound intelligent doing it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, George Bush can quote Bible verses. Come on back, George. I like you now. Come on back.
Yeah, he said somebody asked him about his faith and does he ask for forgiveness, ask God to forgive him of his sins. He said, well, no, no, I talk to myself, What?
Why? That's not a good person to talk to. I talk to myself. Lord.
Man.
So I know we don't want to think about it, right? But worst case scenario, let's ride Brandon's wave for a second. What if he really does win, y'all? Like, when are we moving, and who can I go with?
I've already secured housing in Canada. My mentor lives in Canada. She said, look, I can ask around for some jobs. We ain't going to know Canada, but I would definitely think about it.
Mm-hmm. Canada might not take us.
They might not because of the corona.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't got corona together.
Yeah.
I think that, if he does win, I think a couple of things happen. I think immediately you start looking at this pandemic lingering longer in this country.
Yeah.
And I think you have more people dying. We're at well over 200,000, and I don't see that number going. I don't see that number slowing down anytime soon. I think this thing just lingers. I think and because of that, I think our economy slows down quite a bit. To me, it's a lot of dominoes. Pandemic lingers, economy drops down a little bit, education system is going to start suffering because it's hard to learn this way.
Yeah.
So we would have in effect had 2 school years where we're not learning in optimal 2 to 3 school years where we're not learning in optimal fashion
Conditions.
Yeah, that's going to set kids back for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to set us back, and so I just see it as a domino effect.
I think there's several, like what you just did, the little, one bleeds into the other. I think there's so many of them, I think about race in particular, more racially divisive events, more reinforcing of that and support of that, more frustration, anger, more protests that turn into riots, and just more divide between Americans. And I think there's several of those, starting with, race, finances, so many of those just trickle downs. And I think that, it's just yet another reinforcement for him to continue doing what he's doing, because he would have won. So like, hey, I'm gonna just ball out now,
Right.
So
he can't win again. He's that second term. He can just do whatever you want to do.
Right. And he's even trying to bring that into question.
That's what I'm afraid of.
We didn't really touch on that. Yeah.
I'm afraid of him trying to argue against the term limits and changing that up, because, he's at his rallies going 4 more years. How about 8? How about 16? How about, Trump forever? And I'm like, you can't really do that. There's actual term limits in existence for a reason. So I'm afraid of him changing the term limits up and us being stuck with him forever. I'm afraid of this herd immunity situation that he keeps whispering and throwing out there in the realms, and I don't know what that will mean of all these people. Everybody get the virus and we just see who lives. I don't
That's
want
survival of the fittest crap.
Yeah, it's not Hunger Games. I don't want to do any of that. I want
not from Region 5.
No.
Right.
And then I'm also afraid, as you all said, that I think that is not going to do anything to help the racial divide that's in our country. I think it's going to make it hurt more, and there's probably going to be more just continual separation between police and people. I just see that continuing to happen, because we're never going to be able to stop, take a minute, get reform, try to get better. It's just going to be a continuous, send those police in there, send the guard in there for these protests and these events, because these protests are not going to stop. I don't think these protests are going to stop until they see some change, some real deal changes. So I'm just afraid of all those things you all said, and eventually our economy crumbling. Because I'm thinking, we talked about the stimulus earlier. $1,200 is not a lot. And you're talking about for 3 people who do well. You know, like we're not rich, but we do okay.
All
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
think about the
Mhm.
folks who really need
Really
that
need
money.
that. Yeah.
$1,200 probably got them through the month, maybe.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then they gonna still need something. And we're almost 8 months in and we haven't really taken care of our people the way we should.
Mm-mm.
So I'm just afraid that's gonna continue to happen. It's gonna be like survival of the fittest, financially, racially, and health wise. Like wherever y'all make it when this is over, is who we moving on with.
Yeah. So let's flip it real quick though. What if he
Thank God.
loses? What do we want to see?
You know,
I can go first.
Go
ahead.
I don't even want him. What is it? When they do the I don't even want them to get to the peaceful transfer of power, which I know there wouldn't be one. The minute he steps out, I want them to chain him right there. Just arrest him.
Get him.
There's got to be treason, because this is my conspiracy. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory. If he loses, because I believe there's a lot of stuff that he wants to stay in power for
So he
many
can't go to
reasons.
jail.
One of them financial, because he owes a lot. And so once he comes out, I feel like people are gonna be like, oh, well, you're no longer useful.
right.
So we're gonna start singing like canaries, whoever it is, and just go ahead and just lock him up. That's what he's been chanting about other people. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be
Real.
hurt. I want him to live a long life and everything. But he needs to
In jail,
have some consequences in the jail.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I would like. What about you all? What is y'all's fantasy for if he
I felt the same. That's what I said. I don't want people planning working with him on plans for the future. None of that. I don't want y'all talking about none of what he's doing right now. Please go work on your cases for when y'all exchange power after January. And I want the day he transfers the keys over to Joe, I want him to be like, look, Mr. Trump, we're here for you.
We're here for you.
We've come for you, sir. You know, it's time for you to go. And I do want him, because I feel like that's part of it. Like, he does so much. And I think this says a lot to what we're teaching our kids too. Like, you can be a bully and just hide behind this power. You can do all this bad stuff and just hide behind presidency. Like, there has to be some type of punishment for your crimes.
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of punishment for your crimes. I also believe that he wants to stay in there, because as soon as he gets out, I think people are going to be coming for him. He's connected to so many bad things. You know, we talk about the taxes, we can talk about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. There's so much stuff that he's done wrong. You know, I think he's just afraid as soon as he gets out, he's going to have to go to jail.
So Brandon, what's your fantasy?
I don't much have one, man. I really, the way you said that, Simone. Oh, wait a minute. I'm a married man.
I've been dreaming about this. I've been dreaming.
For me, what I would like for this to be, as much as possible, a blip in history. And for this point, it happened. We had 4 years. And again, we're not saying that Trump is the author of racism. He is not. But he has made it really comfy for a lot of folks that are racist. And I just want this to be a blip. I want Joe to come in. And I want that to be a somewhat of a smooth pass, a path going forward. And what I actually would like, I would like for this to actually spearhead a viable third party. So we're not necessarily relying on
Just
Democrats or Republicans as well. I'd like a solid third party. I would like I would like for this to springboard into a quote unquote Black agenda as well.
That's a nice, mature answer. That is so nice.
It's so much better than what we
lock
said.
him up.
Y'all wishing we should kill.
No,
get him out of here.
I just want justice. That's all. But I hope and pray that we have the resilience of Black people. This country has the resilience of Black people to rise up, rebuild, and be a blip on the radar, on the whatever, and just move past this. I think that this is what the pundits have been saying, that this is gonna be with us forever, and this is gonna be an embarrassment. And yes, it is, but we also can rebuild too. So
if we are still here when y'all's kids are in high school, and this is part of the history books, it's gonna be it's terrible. Like this 4 years, I don't want to even underestimate it. These last 4 years have not been good. You know, they've not been good for us as an economy. They've not been good for people of color. It's not been good for people of Hispanic descent. Nobody, nobody has really done well mentally, physically, emotionally. Like it's been really hard. You know, for a good minute, I had to even just stop watching CNN because it was just Trump, 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 Trump all the time. And I couldn't take it anymore because it's just sad. I'm like, how many more dumb things is he gonna do? And that was very early in the game. I'm like, and we couldn't do anything about it. Like you can't do anything about it. Like he's just in there. You know, even when we thought he was gonna get impeached, it's like, nope, can't do anything about it.
Can't do it, yeah.
So it's just been really hard. So I'm just looking forward to leadership that actually has some character and some integrity. Like again, I don't think there's ever gonna be a politician in life that I agree with 100%. It's always probably going to be at least a few things that I don't see eye to eye with him on. Even Obama, who was my forever president, there are a few things where I was like, I would have did it, you know. But still, at the end of the day, he had integrity. He had character. I wasn't
not one scandal.
Not scared. Man, when I tell y'all, you know, we went to Australia last year for our anniversary, and when people found out we were American, they started laughing. Like they were like, "Are you running from your president?" They were like, "You poor people, you know, y'all's presidents." Like
let me buy y'all a drink because man, y'all gotta be stressed.
They were like, "Are y'all fleeing to Australia?" I was like,
"Can we?"
But like just to go other countries and to know that your president is like the laughing stock of other countries is not cool. Like again, I don't expect people to ever agree with every single politician, but I at least want to go places and be like, oh, you know, I at least respect your president. You know, at least your president's smart. At least your president is like has some sense of humanity or something like that. I just want that again. Like again, I take
and I don't want to think about my president every day. There's never been a time when the president was like a household name like every day. I want to go back to every now and again, like, oh, okay, he did that. Okay, you know. Or the days when, you know, Michelle was doing the garden and the Get Fit, like, oh, okay, she's taking the, you know, the vending machines. Okay, nice. Okay, I didn't really think about him like, nice. But I don't want to see the president I don't want to hear about him every day. It's too much. So speaking of that, I think this is a good segue into the self-care. So I know we talk about self-care for the week and also the days ahead with the election. We can answer either one or both. What y'all want to do for yourselves?
I'm gonna continue with my 5 o'clock deal. I'm gonna continue with that, making myself productive, and hopefully, you know, I'm gonna check in on Tuesday, you know, with everything that's going on. I'm gonna check in. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna watch it, but I'm gonna do my best to not dwell on it. And you know, I don't want to just stay up super late. You know, go to bed. All right, that's what it is.
Well, this week for myself, I'm just gonna try to stay in my continue my boundaries. Stay over here in my office area, which has been great for the few days that I've been in it. You know, I really been closing the computer at 6 or so and walking away and not coming back to the computer to check emails or anything like that. So I think having the separate space is very helpful. I wish I had done it a few months ago, but I was being stubborn. So I thought I could do everything from that spot on my couch, and I probably should not have. So now I'm really just going to that area to relax and coming in this area to do work. And I mean all the work. So even the Corona Times work. So I think that's going to be good for me. Now, as far as election night, I don't know. I'm just going to try to stay prayed up. Okay. I don't know about tomorrow, but I know who holds my hand. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
Yes. See, y'all laughed at me, but I have my faith.
The faith.
Okay. Y'all laughed at my Amazon purchase.
That's a onesie. Ain't no dress though.
It's a dress.
It's a onesie.
Pockets and everything.
I think it's important.
You got onesies with pockets too.
Yeah, onesies have pockets too, Simone. But no, I love your shirt. And I think it's important to keep the faith in all of this. You know, like we don't know what's going to happen. And I mean, we are people of faith. And at the end of the day, you know, I feel like it's in the Lord's hands, you know, regardless. And he's kept us thus far, you know. It's going to, as one of my favorites would say, it is what it is. So, you know.
So in our family, this is ever since Obama got elected, we have made it a thing, like election night. So I'm gonna work the day of, but then the next day I took off because last time everything went down, it was really tough. And I had to go to class the next day. It was bad. It was very bad. So anyway, this year we're gonna have some good food. We're gonna watch. There will be probably 200 polos, Brandon, that you won't see.
Nope.
I'm sure.
And that's not probably not even an exaggeration.
It's not.
Seriously. And if things go bad, I will go to sleep early like I did last year and just pray for a miracle. But Tiff's right, God is in control. Even when things feel chaotic. And I think that's something that's been in my prayers lately is helping me to remember that God is in control, because a person can really have a crisis of faith right now because we've been getting hit hard. And we have to remember who is really in control of this earth and of our lives.
Right.
And I believe in that wholeheartedly. So we're going to be all right regardless.
Yeah. As Simone said, we are a resilient people. And, we've made it through. Again, like I said, this hasn't been a great 4 years. This hasn't been a great year just with COVID, but we're still surviving and thriving. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be okay regardless. And we got to say that. We're going to be okay.
Yes.
We're going to be all right.
Yep.
And not in the weird way where we go, everything's fine and the house is burning down. Not that way.
No.
But for real.
Right.
Now, it might be like that the day or I don't want to demonize, like if it's rough a few days after and you having a moment, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
But we just can't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in a bad place. I'm going to be kind of sad. But I will get myself in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
With God's help, I will.
I want to be an equal opportunity thinker too. So, if you Trump folks, if y'all lose, it's going to be all right for y'all too. Please don't be flipping out and burning
They're
up.
They're going to be flipping out.
Let's not do it. It's just,
don't.
It's going to be okay. It'll be all right. Y'all get another chance in 4 more years. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
Well, till next time, guys. We want to thank y'all for watching with us. We want to remind y'all. Yes, we want to remind y'all to vote in these Corona times.
Please vote.
Please, you got Tuesday. Go make it happen. Okay. Wash your hands.
Wear a mask.
Take care of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Socially distant.
Yes.
Distant, please.
If you don't feel good, stay home.
Please, don't come nowhere. All those things. And of course, we want to remind you, even though we're telling you to vote, want to remind you that it's still justice for Breonna Taylor. Until that comes, we'll still be asking for that. And until the next time we come together, we remain yours.
Remain yours.
Bye, everybody.